All right, now we are live. It should be live now. Should be able to post this into the Brisbane Lions supporters group as well too to let them know. Hopefully we are doing well. Um, that's working. That's coming through. All right, perfect. How are we? Yeah. So Scott has got a some. Unfortunately, um, he can't make it today, but he'll be on it next week for our Roaring Lion, and also the other ones were at work as well. So it's just me today, but we'll be next week. We'll have Scott on talking about. He lives in Melbourne. He'll be talking a bit about how the game went against Collingwood because he'll be going to the game this week. There's also going to be a function for the members down in Melbourne as well, too. So for those that are in Melbourne or going over to the game in Collingwood on Saturday night, you'll be able to check out the emails that should come through as well too, because it is going to be members round down there as well too, so that'll be pretty good. So big game as well, of course, Collingwood. So they've also been looking a bit shaky as well the last few weeks as well. So it's been going to be yeah, after our loss last week, but Gold Coast, same vote the week before, they had a big loss and then they bounced back as well too. So I was chatting with Scott as well off the on the phone call as well. He was saying how it's kind of like a bit of a trend, how we have a bit of that pattern because when we lost to Melbourne, we end up winning. We smashed Geelong down in Geelong, so it's always the way. The last few years we've had lost 2 games in a row for some reason, and then we won. So hopefully we don't lose 2 games in a row, but it's going to be a tough run home with the 4 games to go. We've got Collingwood, Sydney, Fremantle, and Hawthorn. So hopefully we can at least get 1 or 2 wins. If we can get 1 or 2 wins, we should make finals. But we need at least 3 wins to stay top 4. So the good thing, a lot of the teams around the top 8 are playing each other as well too. So that makes it a bit more easier. Well, not easier, but helpful that some teams may lose, some teams may win. So, and it's very tight the ladder though this year. So the top 9 are very tight. So, um, thankfully the draw has kind of helped Brisbane in a way because they don't have to try so hard to get percentage. Whereas all the other top 8 teams who haven't had a draw, they're fighting out on percentage as well too. So they're going to have to use their percentage as well too. And going to be a bit tricky with that as well too. But also shout out to the Brisbane Lions this week. They sent over this, which is pretty cool. The brand new Will Ashcroft hat as well too, and you can see it's a good gold signature as well too of his signature, which is pretty cool. So that's the Ashcroft hat. They're doing one each week as well too, so you can have a look out on the shop as well too, with the silhouette as well too. The one looks like Andrews as well too, so they won't say who it is yet, but it does look like that too. We've also got a few functions as well coming up for the Brisbane Fremantle game here in WA in a couple of weeks' time. So they're going to be the game is on Friday night. There's going to be a function at the Empire Bar with the Premiership Cup as well too, and a few players as well too. And then the next day on Saturday, I'm in talks with Alan, who's gonna. I'm gonna give him my number as well because we just had a talk on the phone the other day, and he's gonna send me an email with more details as well too. But it's gonna be Cam Rayner and Darcy Wilmot, and that's gonna be at Vic Park as well too. So put the details up as well in the next few days as well too on the site as well too, on the Brisbane Lions WA supporters group. So if you are following the page, make sure you follow the page on Facebook as well too. So they'll be there as well. Obviously, we've had some news today of Kai Lohman. He's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Also, Kitty Coleman's out for 6 to 8 weeks. So looks like Kitty Coleman may not be returning if you're in finals as well too, because you got 4 weeks plus 4 weeks. So 4 weeks left of this season plus 4 weeks of the finals. And kind of 3 to 4 weeks. So it looks like he's not going to be back unless we play, unless it's the finals. So he'll be out for a little bit as well too. So there's a few injuries. Obviously, we've got no Ainsworth as well too because he's out injured as well too. So be interesting to see who they select. Be interesting to see if Doty comes in or not because we do need some players down in defence as well too. Obviously, they tried hard at times, but Gold Coast just obviously tried harder, if that makes sense. And obviously, because they've been getting beaten up by a lot of against us all the time, so maybe they got sick of it and they wanted to try their hardest against us as well too, because it is a Q clash, and obviously when it gets to rivalry round, a lot of upsets can do happen as well too. So I actually tipped Sydney and I tipped Melbourne, so that stuffed my tips up. So for the other tips, but it looks like it's going to be more harder to tip this weekend because you got Thursday night, you got Bulldogs and GWS. Then you got Adelaide Hawthorn Friday. You got Brisbane Collingwood on Saturday. So right there, that's like 6 teams all vying for the top 8 that are playing each other. So it's going to be quite interesting round this weekend coming up. You've also got Fremantle and Port Adelaide, I believe. But you look at Hawthorn, they got to play like Adelaide, they got to play Collingwood and Brisbane. Fremantle got to play they got to play Brisbane and Bulldogs. Then you look at, for example, Collingwood, they got to play hard teams as well. They got to play Brisbane and they got to play Adelaide as well too. So it's kind of opens up quite well, which is pretty good for the season and for the finals, because it's like you don't know who's going to make it, and it's going to be where the positions are going to finish because it's so tight. I haven't seen a ladder like this for a long time, because normally last year you see Hawthorn and Brisbane. We came from 13th last year and we were finished outside the 4 to win it. But this year there seems to be a clear divide between the top 9 and the bottom 9. And then Bulldogs, I think, are probably the most perfect 9th team at the moment because they smash all the bottom 8 sides, but they find it tricky to win against the top 8 sides. So, like, for example, Brisbane beat them twice this year, but then they smashed all the other bottom sides. So that's always makes it interesting as well. So, final 4 weeks are Collingwood, Sydney, Freo, and Hawthorn. Hopefully, it's funny because we played better away than we have been playing at home this year, when you think about it. But I think this test will be Collingwood this week. Although Collingwood, as I say, they have been sort of dropped a little bit, but they have been resting players. So it depends on what the team structure is going to be like. Also, our ruckman, Big O, he's looking a bit sore at the moment. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. If they're going to have 4 in there as well, maybe bring in someone else to come and help ruck. But his back's just getting a bit sore at the moment. So I think that is another reason why we're trying to get Sam Draper and Allen as well for next year. But I do hope that Big O can finish out the season, which will be good because he missed the grand final last year, and if we get back there again, it'll be nice for him to be able to play for him and him get the actual real medal as well this time as well too. So that'll be good. We've also got yes, that's right. The fixtures: Collingwood, Sydney, Freo here in WA. So I've got tickets front row for our cheer squad, which will be pretty good. Obviously, we'll be talking more about our events as well throughout the next week and a bit, because there's only a couple of weeks left to go. So I'll also be posting that on the Brisbane Lions WA supporters group as well too. Also, if you are doing the AFL Women's Fantasy, that is starting up again in a couple of weeks. So now I'm just going to give you my link and my code for it too. So for those that are wanting to play it, I'm just going to give you the link as well too. If you have any questions as well too, make sure you ask away. We've had there's a question that was from Kane, who was asking Scott. So Scott will ask this question for next week, but he wants to know how he went in footy tipping this year, or how's he going in footy tipping. So those that are doing the AFL Women's Fantasy, here is our code. Is number 2 YOVRXFW. So that is number 2. Then there's all capital letters. Y for yellow, O for ostrich, V for Victor, R for Reece, X for X-ray, F for Fred, and W for water. That is our code for the AFL Women's Fantasy if you want to join and involved with that as well too. Now let me try and predict. Well, I don't want to predict, but it's hard to predict. But we probably should be able to beat Sydney up at the Gabba, and then I believe Hawthorn, maybe, possibly. They got Day back now, so that makes it tricky. And Hawthorn have got a good record against Brisbane, but hopefully after we knocked off the curse this year, maybe we might be able to have another win. It'll be interesting to see which sort of Dockers team turns up here in Perth. So hopefully it'll be nice, because if we're going to it, it'll be nice if we can get a win, because the last game, funnily enough, I went to live was actually the grand final. So I went to the elim, prelim, and grand final. So definitely my last 3 games probably the best games I've been to. Prelim was awesome. That was a ripper game. So the Freo game is going to be have to live up to that, but the way that they're playing is going to be quite big as well too. Those 2 games are going to be quite big. So I think the Freo Brisbane game will be a much more meaningful game now than it was probably at the start of the season. That's for sure. So that's a Friday night game as well too. So that'll be quite good. If we do get the win against Collingwood, then we should be able to have a chance to finish on top. But if we don't beat Collingwood, then we're fighting out for the top 4. And then if we lose 2 or 3 games, then we'll probably be fighting for the 8. So that's how close it is this year. So it's very it's probably up to Brisbane. Like they're in their hand now because obviously we got the draw, so that helps as well too. Because the draw, as I say, we just need a win. We don't need to push ourselves. Whereas all the other teams that don't have a draw, they have to push themselves to get percentage. So the only if there's a draw amongst other teams, then it will hurt us. But for now, they just need to try and win the game, even if it's just a point, just like a finals. You just have to win. So, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, big game. And I feel after the week they had last week, losing to Gold Coast on the weekend, hopefully they'll do a Gold Coast this week because Gold Coast, they lost to Adelaide and then they bounced back. And most teams usually try and bounce back. So fingers crossed that's the case. If you have any questions throughout the week as well, too, let us know as well too. Keep posted to the website as well on the Facebook Brisbane Lions Diversity Supporters Group. And then we'll also be joining Scott. He's from UE, our sponsor from UE. He's from Melbourne. He goes to all the Melbourne games. He's also going to be flying up to Sydney next week as well too. So we're going to have a good insight on how the Collingwood game went with him next week on our podcast on the Roaring Lion, and also the lead up to the Sydney game, what he's planning to do. And then the week after, obviously, we got the game here in Perth. So we got a few things to look forward to with that. I'll also be talking a bit about that as well too. So plenty of things to look forward to. I do to apologise. It is a bit of a shorter live today. Normally we do about 30 minutes, but this is only going to be about 15 minutes. But I do hope you're all having a good week. I know it was a bad loss, but sometimes, as I say, it's better to lose and to try and fire up the team rather than just winning all the way. And you look at Geelong, for example, last year they had a lot of easy teams at the end, and also this year they got a lot easier fixture as well too. So it may work against them because you want to play teams that are around you on the ladder leading up to the finals because they want to get some finals practice as well too. So as I say, the ladder's very tight. It's going to be quite tight. I say if Brisbane lose 1 game, then there will be still hopefully a chance for 4. If they lose more than 2 games, then they'll be fighting for the 8. And obviously, if they lose 4, then that's not good. So anything can happen. It's going to be an interesting month ahead. Hopefully, we can get the results our way. And as I say, you can join the Fantasy Women's as well, which is starting up in a couple of weeks' time. We're looking forward to next week. If you have any questions throughout the week, jump on the Brisbane Lions supporters group and check that out. And we spoke about injury news. We spoke about the game. I'd say, yeah, Gold Coast just played way too good. And hopefully that we can bounce back against Collingwood. If we get our matches right, we get our setup right, we should be all right too. We need to put our foot down as well. Awesome. No worries. Well, keep up the good work all. Let's have a good week ahead. We'll keep posted for any with our events coming up as well too. So keep up the good work, guys, and we will have a longer session next weekend. So I do apologise. It was a bit more shorter this week, but that should be good. All right, no worries. As I say, thanks to the Lions again for sending me this Will Ashcroft hat. This is pretty cool. Look what they're in store as well too. So if you check out there, that's in store. If you're in Queensland, is an in-store item, so you can go over there and get it as well too. So if you're going to the game against Sydney, because that's the next home game against Sydney, and then we got so then it's Melbourne, So Melbourne, Gabba, Queensland, WA, and the Gabba. So interesting. A run home. Awesome. No worries. That is done. 15 minutes. Keep up the good work, guys. Bring on this weekend. Go Lions. Also, well done for the Cluggage Fit China the week before, and also Ashcroft 50 games as well too. Go Lions. Rah, rah.